Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm once again answering some of your questions, such as, why is it, with the popularity of Cartier, we just don't sell it? And what material do I consider just a big gimmick? All that and way more in today's episode. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Piaget Polo 45 flyback chronograph GMT. I don't know why I haven't worn this in forever, but it is feeling great, especially with the rubber strap for the climbing Miami temperatures. And also, guys, don't forget to check out DelrayWatch.com. The massive amount of drops is still ongoing. I still have a backlog of 30 watches to post, but a highlight of 3 that just hit the site include the Vacheron Constantin Overseas, the previous generation, the one that I personally like better, and it is the cheapest one in the country. We also got in a Breguet Marine on the rare bracelet, full box, full papers, also the previous generation, and the one everybody likes better. I own this one myself on the strap. And of course, the least expensive in the country as well, and a very rare Gerald Genta day-night GMT with a beautiful blue dial. First one I've seen in the flesh, absolutely gorgeous, and you can make it yours. All at DelrayWatch.com, the best place for a watch geek to buy a watch. Link in the description below. So yeah, guys, these are the questions you've asked me on my Instagram account at Federico Talks Watches. A few times a month, a Q&A picture pops up. When you see that picture, feel free to ask your question. When I get enough questions, I take the picture down. Please do not DM me. I do not check them. And in no particular order, we start with Mundo Olivo. And he said, from your perspective, what's your opinion on IWC's perpetual calendar complication watches? Reviewing what's available on the market, they seem to be good value. Well, I actually really like the IWC Perpetual, but they have a crazy quirk. One that I think is potentially fatal, but won't necessarily stop me from buying one. So the quirk is you can set the full perpetual calendar directly through the crown. No pushers, no buttons, no nothing. And that sounds good, right? And in theory, it is. But if you overshoot the date, meaning if you're lackadaisically changing the date and you go forward 4 months, there's no way to go back. There's no way to go back. Either you have to wait for the watch to catch up to the date, or you have to send it to IWC for like $1,000 calendar correction. This, to me, is nuts. They wanted to simplify it by doing everything through the crown, and I get it, but that's a pretty big flaw. Now, that being said, I'd still own one. I think they are killer value. You can find a lot of them under $20,000 in a precious metal. And as long as you're careful setting it, it is a very good movement, just a quirky one. Watch Rolling says, hey Fed, always appreciate your honest and succinct insight. Thank you. Which material in timepieces do you think is more gimmicky than the rest? For me, it's easy. It's bronze. I just really don't like bronze. I don't like the way it feels on my skin. It tarnishes, which is part of its charm. And when there were a couple of bronze watches, like when the Bronzo came out and it was like one model, that was super cool. But now Tudor's doing it, Panerai's doing it, Oris is doing it. So many people are doing bronze. It's becoming so common, and the vast majority of them look like shit once they've aged. The big exception is the Panerai Bronzo, which I think the tarnish goes well with that style of watch. But generally, bronze is just no pluses and all negatives in my book. Still a Lazy says, hey Fed, any new Delray watch collabs, like watch collabs coming up? I totally missed the first one. So yes, we did collaborate a little while back with a company called Turby to come out with a limited edition Delray watch. We are in the very early stages of planning another collaboration, but I'm going to be honest, it's easily going to be 6 to 8 months, possibly even more for the next one. We don't just like to slap these together. We really want to do it right. Also, it's a fair capital investment, so we want to make sure we make something people actually like because they have to sell when we make them. That being said, we are working on it, and we will keep you updated. Sherlovnik says, "Hey Fed, I wonder why Cartier watches, being the number 2 watch brand around the world, did not make the top 5 brands sold at Delray watch. Is it brand loyalty not too big, or are Cartier owners not flipping?" This is actually a very easy answer. So Cartier is the number 2 selling brand in the world, at least according, I don't know if it's exactly number 2, but it's very much up there. And in proportion, we sell very few of them. Now, it's not because I don't like them. I used to work for Cartier. I love Cartier. But it's because a vast majority of Cartier's watches and a big part of their sales is ladies' watches. They are the number 1 ladies' watch brand in the world. And I have nothing against ladies' watches, but most of my viewership, most of my customer base by far is men's. Ladies' watches also have a much softer market. It's harder to sell a pre-owned ladies' watch than it is a pre-owned men's watch, and for those reasons, we don't really buy ladies' watches. And even more so, that means we're not selling a ton of ladies' watches, which is a big hit on Cartier itself. I mean, don't get me wrong, we sell quite a bit of Cartier, but just not in proportion to how big the brand is. And that is all to do with the fact that they focus quite a bit on ladies' watches, and that doesn't really go well with the Delray watch business model. Marsh to Marcy. "Hey Fed, thanks for the content you share with us." Thank you, brother. "I have a question about Breguet. Is it true that most of their movements are made by Frédéric Piguet?" So yes, it is true. So Frédéric Piguet was bought by the Swatch Group, and the Swatch Group also owns Breguet. They rebranded most of their movements to be called Manufacture Blancpain, which is also owned by the Swatch Group. So Frédéric Piguet movements are now called Manufacture Blancpain movements, and those are the majority of the movements you see in Breguet watches. Now, nothing wrong with this. Frédéric Piguet, or Manufacture Blancpain, however you want to call them, are extremely high-end movements, fantastic movements, but yes, you are correct. They are made by a company originally called Frédéric Piguet. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Really does help. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.